following program, The Lightning Strike, is sponsored by Mohammad Faheem and to the extent applicable their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammad Faheem, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammad Faheem.
Good morning, Chicago, and welcome to another edition of the Lightning Strike on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk radio station. I'm your host, Mohammad Faheem. Joining me in the studio today is my co-host, Ken DeLuc.
Howdy, folks.
And our intern, Tyree Pipkins.
Good morning, everyone.
And also our other host on the show, John Arena, is calling in today. Good morning, John.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I finally tested negative to COVID after 3 days of that, so thankful for science helping me get through this.
Okay, folks, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope that everyone have digested those turkey and green bean casserole. And what else did you have, John?
Oh, we did prime rib this year.
Oh,
we bucked this traditional meal, but it was very good.
Man, how come? Which kind of turkey did you have that had prime rib on it?
It was a very big turkey.
looks like it must have been a real.
Is that
big...
one of those cow duckins?
There you go.
Okay, folks. The focus on today's show is going to be things that we are thankful for. Okay, we rarely get an opportunity, especially on talk radio, to express our appreciation for all the great things that God has given us. So if you need to call in and talk about, the blessings that you have received throughout the year, the number to call in is 773-763-9278 or WCPT. And we're going to start off the hour today, though, with our person of the week. And to introduce the person of the week is Sheila White. Sheila, good morning. You're on.
And to everyone, it's a great weekend. We have a lot to be thankful for. You are so right, Mohammed. Many things to be thankful for. And I'm thankful for a station like WCPT where we can just talk about some great things, some things that are going on in the world. The guest today that we have as our person of the week is Burgundy Malone. And Burgundy Malone is the owner of Jet Juno Collective. And Jet Juno Collective isn't just a vision house, a fashion house. Mm-hmm. It's a vision for the world where art forms converge. And beyond business, Mrs. Malone, she shines as a motivational speaker. And she fuses art, fashion, music, and visual arts. So it's really, really awesome. And we're really happy to have her as our person of the week. Welcome, Burgundy Malone.
Thank you. How's everyone doing?
Good morning, Burgundy. Thank you for coming on the show with us. What a resume you have.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I am a disabled military veteran who became ill with an autoimmune disease, and I decided to start my brand, Jet Juno Collective, which is a fashion and media brand.
So, Burgundy, where does the name come from?
The name to jet means to move, and Juno is an asteroid. We always talk about planets, but we never talk about asteroids, and we never talk about alignment. And so for me, I put the name together, Jet Juno, and that means ascend, my friend.
Okay, but
so
I meant, where did the name Burgundy come from?
Burgundy is a color of royalty. And Malone is called Malone. He's one of my favorite basketball players. He never got a ring. Okay. I felt like in the entrepreneurial ring that I was going to bring home that ring for him, so it's Burgundy Malone.
So you kind of named yourself as Malone, or were you born with that last name?
I did name myself Burgundy Malone.
Okay.
I did as a fashion designer, as a creative, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Where did the name come from? Sheila, Burgundy is all yours.
Okay, well, ascend, my friend. Jet Juno means ascend, my friend. And I am really excited to talk with our guest of the week today because, like I said, she has converged all of these different art forms, music, fashion, art, visual arts, all of this into one platform. And I want you to talk a little bit, Burgundy, about what's happening in April of 2024. We're really excited about that.
In April of 2024, I'm having my first fashion show in Joliet at the Bicentennial Theater. It's to bring autoimmune awareness because I have an autoimmune disease, and I want to give back to the community of Joliet. So we'll have vendors. We'll incorporate some of the students from the high school and bring awareness to autoimmune diseases and talk about entrepreneurship. So I'm very excited about that. That will be happening at the end of April 2024.
Okay, is that going to be on a weekend, Burgundy?
Yes, it will be on a Sunday, April 21st.
April 21st, Sunday. What time do you guys plan to start?
Around 3 or 4. We're still getting that together.
Okay. That means that we could finish the show over here and come out and visit with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would love that.
And I have a question, Burgundy. Why fuse those different art forms together? What was on your mind with fusing all of these different types of art forms into one type of convergence?
Fashion is art. Music is art. And I'm a person who loves music. I love fashion. And I love bringing creatives together. So I decided to start Jet Juno Collective and bring different artists together in order to form my collective because art is not just one thing. And it was my brainchild because I like to do so many things that I found a way to put it all together.
And, Burgundy, you mentioned the physical disability that you have, and I know that you use that as a superpower. Explain a little bit about the autoimmune disorder that you have, disability that you do have, because it's an awareness that you're doing for the April 2024 fashion show as well.
The name of my autoimmune disease is Sjogren's. And Sjogren's is a disease. It's not just a dry mouth disease. It actually dries out different parts of your organs. It makes you tired. It's the unseen disease. People just think when you go to the doctor, you have a dry mouth, dry eyes. That's not it. It keeps you tired. I had to retire as an electrician because I just couldn't keep up anymore. And so that's one reason why I started Jet Juno Collective as well, because I lost my career. And I felt like instead of sitting down that I was going to get up. And with this autoimmune disease, being a creative, it helps me to release all the pain. I'm always in pain. I'm always sick. I'm always tired. But I don't use that as an excuse. I continue to get up and go every day.
And Burgundy, you have overcome different obstacles. You emphasize, self-love, acceptance, and, expressive freedom. How has your mindset, your media mindset or mastery mindset helped you in your public speaking?
I would say I try to envision a world where, in my motivational speaking, where I put myself in other people's shoes. I try to get as much information as I can about people, and I tailor the motivational speaking around their gifts instead of their deficiencies. And that's pretty much my mindset. Find the positive in people, work with the positive, accept them for who they are, and work with that in order to bring a community of understanding and commitment and loyalty. And that's my mindset.
Wonderful. Burgundy, thank you so much for joining us on WCPT on the Lightning Strike today. I really want to echo something, folks, that Burgundy said, that in order to find about somebody, you got to put yourself in their shoes, right? But most of us don't understand that in order to put yourself in someone else's shoes, you have to take off your shoes first. So once you get that down, then you're ready to step into someone else's shoes and find out what their life is all about, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Because things aren't what they always appear.
On that note, folks, Sheila and Burgundy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we are going to bring back Michelle Alfano, who was our guest on the show last week, to talk about what is currently happening with Eric Strang and his incarceration in Iowa. Okay, so take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, did you know there's a program in Illinois that if you qualify for it would allow you to get solar installed on your home at no out-of-pocket cost? The benefit to you would be a reduction of your electric bill, possibly as high as 30 to 50%, and more importantly, you would take out the uncertainty of almost guaranteed future price increases imposed from your electric company. If you'd like to see if you can qualify for this program, call Ken DeLuc at 312-617-8979. That's 312-617-8979. Help us save the environment and change that electric bill burden.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammad Faheem.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammad Faheem. In the studio with me today, Ken DeLuc and Tyree Pipkins. And the number to call in is 773-763-9278. Folks, we want to focus today on the things that we should be thankful for in our life. And one of the things that I am thankful for in my life is my introduction with Michelle Alfano. And Ken, thank you so much for bringing Michelle to our notice and to our show last week.
Just to keep everybody up to speed, if you did not hear the show last week, there's a gentleman named Eric Strang. He is in the Iowa correctional system. He has served 17 years for what would seem to be a very exaggerated sentence, and unfortunately, he's going through some major hassles right now. Michelle, since we spoke last week, and I know Eric was supposed to be on the air with us, but Friday before the show, they committed him to solitary confinement. Can you give us an update on what's going on in that situation?
Yes, good morning to everyone. Thank you for having me. And what I'm grateful for is my First Amendment freedom of speech, because I am here to talk about an unpopular topic, and that is solitary confinement, which, in my opinion, is being used as torture. And I'm referring to the Eric Strang case in Iowa at Newton Correctional in Newton, Iowa, which is 6 hours west of Chicago. I am there every weekend. I've been there for over 2 years, so I'm very familiar with what's going on. And Eric has been in solitary confinement. Today is day 10. He had a little break, and before that, he was also in solitary for 13 days. So basically, we're at the 23-day mark. Mm-hmm. And I will say that the United Nations says that solitary confinement is a torture when it is used more than 15 days. But that's consecutive days, so technically we're not quite there yet, but Lord, we are going there. And this is what torture looks like at Newton Correctional. This is what Eric's facing. He's in a cell that's about the size of a parking spot. He can touch the walls with both of his hands raised. And in that cell, there are fluorescent lights on him 24 hours a day that are designed to disrupt a human being's sleep. He is technically allowed outside in a kennel. And when I say kennel, you'll think of dogs, and that's exactly what it looks like. However, the people at Newton Correctional don't go into the kennel because it's too cold. So while he, on paper, is allowed out 1 hour a day, he doesn't actually go out because he would catch pneumonia. It's too cold. Another thing he faces in solitary is the lack of food and also the lack of edible food. So it has been alleged at Newton Correctional, I don't have proof of this yet, but I'm working on it, that the people there are being fed chicken that is actually chicken body parts, like, for example, the chicken beak. And that is food that is not considered fit for human consumption. And quite frankly, I wouldn't feed it to my dogs. I have 2 dogs. I wouldn't feed them chicken body parts like the chicken beak. It gets ground up. And again, I don't have proof of this, but I would certainly like the prison facility to invite inside into their kitchen the Newton News journalist, Chris Braunschweig, who's following Eric's case. And let's take a look. Why not be transparent and see what kind of food these human beings are being fed?
Michelle?
Because after all, yes.
I'm sorry to stop you short there. A quick question, and I know you don't necessarily know the exact answer. Do you have any opinions on why he has been subject to the solitary confinement situation? What's your best guess on that?
I do have some opinions, and I do want to emphasize opinions because I've called the Newton Correctional Facility about 8 times, and they just keep telling me, call back Monday. I've spoken to Captain Waller, Captain Ross. I've left messages for the Deputy Warden, Sean Crawford. It's very much call back Monday, even though I have a release on file. And I'm allowed to discuss Eric's case, and I ask, what are the charges? Nobody will tell. And when you think of our democracy, one of the basic foundations is if I'm being held for a crime, I have to know what the charges are. So we don't know what the charges are. But I will tell you, Eric was taken into solitary at 5 p.m. on November 17th. And the show last week was scheduled for Sunday, November 19th. So there's a very clear correlation there that somebody didn't want us speaking out. When I say us, I mean myself, because it's a heavy burden to speak for somebody who's being punished this severely. And, of course, Eric had intended to call in, and in solitary confinement, you lose all human contact. No phone calls, no visits, no mail delivered. Eric's in a college course. They won't give him his college materials. Only 15 people are in this one beautiful Grinnell class at the prison, and they're going to make it so that he can't finish the class. Which brings me to the issue of tax dollars. Why are our tax dollars paying to punish people rather than focus on education, rehabilitation? Everybody at the Newton Correctional Center is coming back into our society. It is a treatment center. So why are we torturing people?
Yeah, one of the things that we have spoken about in the past, in the last week's show also, folks, is how dysfunctional our correctional facilities are now. It has become a big business, like the numbers that I had come up with last week, Ken. We are spending over $80 billion on correctional facilities in our country at any given time.
Right, and the other number, it costs between $50,000 to $60,000 a year per inmate.
Per inmate, okay. It's crazy, and they're not coming out, with any functional skills to reintegrate back into society. Folks, the number to call in is 773-763-9278. I am Mohammad Faheem. With me in the studio today, Ken DeLuc and Tidy Pipkins. This is the Lightning Strike on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk radio station. With us, joining us on the show also is John Arena. John could not be in the studio today. John just is recovering from COVID. So, John, continuing the conversation that we had, man, what do you say on this?
Well, I think, everything she's just described talks about, retribution and penalties as opposed to allowing people to, better themselves, use this time to come out better than they were when they went in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a biggest problem we have in our penal system. It's all about punishment and not about that idea of just kind of retribution, societal retribution
instead of rehabilitation.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
And that's this kind of action for somebody who's really worked to use this time where he could have been bitter. Everything I've read about him just shows that he's a good person trying to do the best he can with the time he has while he's incarcerated. And this is a system that's just trying to hide him away from society.
Well, it's just one person that we're talking about, but Michelle, I believe that there are a number of other people in that correctional facility over there who are facing the same situation as Eric is, right?
Absolutely. It's tricky for me to speak about other people's cases. Mm-hmm. I'm really advocating for Eric, but absolutely, this is something that impacts thousands of people, not only in the Iowa DOC system, but also Illinois, mm-hmm. and across the nation, really. And solitary confinement, in my opinion, and I'm also taking some facts here from Prison Policy Initiative, it's inherently harmful. It causes permanent changes to people's brains, their bodies, their personalities. It causes, this is what research indicates, it causes hallucinations, panic attacks, paranoia. People lose basic skills, like, for example, their sense of direction. So you're taking somebody who was inherently healthy, and quite often people are in prison because they made a mistake more than having a criminal personality, and this is particularly true when we're talking about teenagers. Eric's mistakes were made when he was 19 years old, and I would like anyone to raise their hand who didn't make mistakes when they were a teenager, things that today, 20 years later, we look back and cringe. Who hasn't made mistakes?
Hey, Michelle,
and I want to end.
Yep. As much as I feel for what Eric is going through, folks, we did write to the Iowa Attorney General to come on the show and got a response back that the Attorney General is not available, and they will get back to us when the Attorney General is available. So definitely we will follow up with the Attorney General's office to see if we can get someone and hold them accountable. One of the things that we have to remember, folks, is all of these people that are there in these high, jobs over there, they work for us, okay? Just because they are, they are the governor or the attorney general or the congressperson or the senator or something, does not mean that they have special privileges, okay? They have more of an obligation to us, the people. Remember, in our form of democracy, it is government of the people, by the people, for the people. And once people start not realizing that, it is time to hold them accountable. It's coming up on the half an hour, folks. We'll be taking a quick break, and we'll come back on the other side of the break. If you have stories that you want to share, things that you're thankful for, feel free to call in. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to The Lightning Strike. I'm Mohammad Faheem.
The Center for Strategic Solutions, your trusted partner in outplacement services. Are you a company in transition or an individual seeking a new opportunity? Our Chicago-based team specializes in providing personal outplacement services to employees. At the Center for Strategic Solutions, we're not just consultants, we're dedicated to your success. Ready to navigate change with confidence? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 847-306-9274. Visit us online at www.cfss.us or email info@cfss.us. The Center for Strategic Solutions, empowering employers and job seekers for success in the heart of Chicago.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammad Faheem.
Okay, folks, welcome back. You are tuned into the Lightning Strike on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk radio station. I'm your host, Mohammad Faheem. In the studio with me, Ken DeLuc, my co-host, and Tidy Pipkins, our intern, and hanging on to the boards and getting us in tune and keeping us on track is also Dylan. And Dylan, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope that you had a good Thanksgiving. And if you want to call in, folks, and talk about things that are good in your life, things that are positive in your life, 773-763-9278 is the number to call in. And Michelle, thank you so much for calling in and giving us an update on what's happening with Eric. So sad to hear, but hopefully, like I keep on saying, folks, 4 words in the English language that I live my life by. This too shall pass. And people will be held accountable for their actions.
And we will keep up on this story.
Oh, absolutely. We're not going to let this go, man. It's like, a dog with a bone. And we've got another Michelle on the line, or I guess our Michelle is back on the line. Michelle, you're back on the line with us. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, so I thought that we had dropped you, but again, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing us up to speed on what Eric was doing and how Eric is doing, and you can be sure that we will continue to follow up on Eric's story. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for encouraging people to contact their state senators. I have those names if you need it, because what you said was so important. The state senators and state reps work for us, and I'm encouraging people to reach out to State Senator Ken Rosenboom, State Senator Brad Zahn, State Representative John Dunwell. Those are the 3 people who are trying to help.
Wonderful. Again, folks, if you have stories that you want to share with us, what you have been thankful for this year so far. John, one of the things that I am thankful for is that we have a Democratic administration in place. I would have shuddered to think what would have happened if, to paraphrase President Biden's words, the other team was in play at this time, and especially with what is happening in the Middle East now, with this pause in the hostilities over there, the hostages coming back home to their families, and the Palestinian prisoners being released. I really shudder to think what would have happened if our friend, again, I don't want to take his name, okay, but everyone knows who I'm talking about, was, at the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is obviously a difficult situation to see from the outside. It becomes very binary in the news. Mm-hmm. But the statesmanship that's required in a complicated, political environment that is the Middle East, Biden, whatever you want to say about him, good or bad, the guy has been in government a long time, being in the House and negotiating decades of bills in the House, being in leadership in the Senate, being the vice president for 8 years. I mean, the amount of experience you gain from that, and having that come to bear at a time when you have intractable positions on both sides in a conflict like this, just trying to move an inch forward and to get to the point where we're getting to a ceasefire, at least temporarily, and getting hostages released and taking steps to create a path forward. You know, this is a difficult work of a statesman, and I think to say thankful for the option we have here for this person and to be in leadership. I can't imagine where we would be if we were fumbling through this the way we did, in the previous administration.
Right. You know, one of the things that, and I have spoken up very strongly on this in the past shows, folks, that, something needs to be done. And I had called on President Biden to step up and be a statesman and not remain a politician. And I think what we are seeing now, John, as to what you are saying, that it is not something that you snap your fingers and it gets done. There's a lot of people and a lot of, things in play over here. And to come up to this point now, where at least there is a pause in hostilities, is a positive step, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is it, but it's only a step, and things could fall back quick. Obviously, everything is fluid and in motion, but this is the only way you move forward. It's very, very slowly, very, with the horrors of war that have been inflicted on both sides. It takes an awful lot to make even small moves, and they said that President even Netanyahu said President Biden was directly involved in the negotiations, and that's what you need. You got to have that kind of influence to bear and be on the phone, making the phone calls, and understanding the long road that led us here, and knowing who the players are and how to talk to them and what their motivations are. I think it's a moment where we do have to at least acknowledge that having that kind of experience is really important in this moment.
John, that is so true. I mean, if you think about it, it's really easy for somebody to bash the people in power. Oh, he's doing this bad job and this, that, and the other thing. But there's the three most important questions in the world, and I've said this for many years, is compared to what? Okay, could you even imagine where we would be right now if not on the brink of maybe World War III or some other ridiculous steps because you have some fool that doesn't have any clue on what he's doing? I mean, it's really important to have competent people in play to make the right moves.
And, having said that, folks, again, guys, we do have to call a spade and hold people accountable also. So when I talk about sometimes, that the Israelis are not to be blamed, but rather the Zionists. And then people say, oh, you're being anti-Semitic. No, I mean, who are the Semites, folks? Let's clarify that first. Who are the Semites? Terry, do you know who the Semites are?
Let's be real, I don't have a clue.
Okay, John, who are the Semites?
My understanding it's the Jewish people.
No, sir. No. That's the problem. The Semites are the people who spoke the Semitic languages. Okay, it comes from Abraham's progeny. There was a guy called Shem, and the people who flow from Shem speak the languages. So it could be the Jews, the Arabs, and the Christians living in that part of the world. They are all Semites. So somehow the media has latched on to this, that, oh, you talk anything about Israel, oh, no, you're anti-Semitic. No. Okay, anti-Semitic means that I could be against the Jews and the Christians also. So it's not so much about, the Jewish people. They are not the only Semites. And remember one thing, most of the people that are in Israel now, they are migrated, and a lot of them are from here, from America. So they are not, Jewish per se, that were born over there in that part of the world. So having said that, I think we got a phone call coming in. Let's see who is calling us and what you want to talk about. Folks, again, the number to call in is 877-663-9278. We wanted to focus today on positive things in our life, and one of the positive things that I am looking at again is this pause in this war that is happening over there. And remember, people keep on referring to that the Gaza area is an open-air prison. It's not an open-air prison, my friends. It's an open-air concentration camp, okay? Prison is something that someone is put in for something that they have done. Most of the people there have not done anything. They've just been put into this huge area where they don't have any rights at all. But again, let us be thankful for small things, and let us be thankful that things are moving forward one step at a time. And hopefully, my hope is that this is not a 4-day truce, but it continues, and this, this unusual, unnecessary harassment and war is, is coming to an end. And I said something that Howard does not agree with me, and let's see if we can bring Howard on as soon as Dylan comes back to the board. And Howard is saying that the moderator is wrong. Man, I would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee and discuss things with you, Howard. And I've got Armin also wanting to talk about the Semites. Would love to bring them back on as soon as our board operator comes back into the room. We'll get you both back on. So, Dylan, I've got Howard, who is calling in to say that the moderator is wrong. Let's see. Let's bring Howard back on and see what have I said that is wrong, and how can we correct it. Howard, good morning. You're on the Lightning Strike with Mohammad Faheem and Ken DeLuc and Tyree Pipkins.
You're wrong about
John Arena is also on with us.
You're wrong about the origin of the term anti-Semitism. While Arabs and Jews and whatever are Semites, the term anti-Semitism originated in Germany, and it was designed to be a more sophisticated term than Judenhass, Jew hatred. So anti-Semitism was originally directed at Jews as such, not as a particular group, even though there are other Semitic peoples. Anti-Semitism is particularly Jewish in origin.
Well, so the term anti-Semitism is Jewish in origin, but the word Semitic does not refer to the Jewish people alone, right?
Yeah, but but anti-Semitism particularly aimed at Jews.
Oh, well, if you claim to be like that, it could be against anybody, right? So, but the word
because its origin in Germany. It was considered to be a more sophisticated term than Judenhass, Jew hatred.
Well, so Judenhass, obviously, Judenhass was Jew hatred, and that was in Germany. I agree with you totally on that. Okay, but the term Semitic is what I wanted to bring to the attention of the people. And thank you so much, Howard, for calling in. Let's see what Armin has got to say about the Semites and what we are discussing today. Good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning. As always, I like to say peace be with you. Actually, the term anti-Semite has been used as a charge word. But we understand that we live in an oppressive word society, and throughout this society, many words have been used to stir emotions. What we don't recognize is that right now, today, the most anti-Semitic people are the Zionists, because the Palestinians are Semitic people. And it's the Zionists that's committing genocide against them, in a sense where they have, again, a 70-plus year military occupation, constantly taking their land. It's almost the same as when the Europeans came to the Americas, and they came up with all kind of negative terms against the Native Americans to justify that genocide. To solve this problem, we have to be truthful. We all have to start being truthful and quit relying on our emotions. We have to start being moral and humane, because there's no humanity in what the Zionists are doing to the Semites in Palestine. Is there?
Well, and that is what I wanted to bring out also is, we keep on hearing this. Anytime you speak up and say something, immediately you're labeled as you're anti-Semitic. No, man, come on, let's talk about being a human being first, okay? Humanitarian should trump every other term that is out there. Folks, you're listening to the Lightning Strike on WCPT AM 820, and the number to call in is 773-763-9278. I wanted today's show to be more focused on the positive aspects of our life and what we should be thankful about. And, especially with Thanksgiving just being past and we are heading into the holiday season, there are a lot of things that we have to be thankful for. Let us try to focus on that. And I mean, thank you so much for calling in and educating us about who really are the Semites at this point, and the kind of things that are happening out in the world, folks. We have to take a stand. We have to step up and we have to speak up about it. We've got another caller coming in on the air. Let us see what we have to discuss on this. Again, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. Okay. Wiki,
hello.
Wiki from Villa Park. Good morning, Wiki.
Wiki, yes. Hi. I'm having a lot of trouble with this discussion because it just sounds, and really frankly on both sides, I'm sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, and I'm sympathetic to the cause of the Israelis. I don't support Zionism, just like I don't support Hamas. I don't support violence and terrorism against anybody. And with the system, but the discussion, and frankly coming from both sides at this point, whether it's on the show or another place, it sounds so much like the language and the things that were said in the arguments during the Civil Rights era and used against black people, more recently against gay people in our own country, and saying they are this, and you can use this word but not that word. And it's, when are we going to recognize that we are all brothers and sisters who have to live together?
Vicky, that is so true. I love your sentiment. Basically, it's come to a this or that. It's a black or white. It's a net zero gain mindset, which doesn't make any sense, okay? There are compassion that can be and empathy that can be held on both the Jewish side and on the Palestinian side. And we have to look at those roads to make the situation better for all and not just blame one or the other. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, we have to be so careful with the language, because and the word with the Semite and anti-Semite is very clearly a word that's been used as a derogatory or for derogatory ideology against Jewish people, and we can't get confused on the etymology of that word. It comes right out of white supremacy and eugenics movements from 100 years ago.
Okay, Tyree wants to say something, Vicky. Tyree, go ahead.
Hey, Vicky. So I do agree with you. We are, as you know, we're all human beings, and it's sad that we live in a world in 2023 that we're still calling out this whole anti-Semitism, or we got to pick one side or the other. And I agree with you fully that if we should have peace on both sides, and that it's 2023, we should stop so much on picking one side to support the other, especially when we don't know the full story on either side. So I agree with you fully that we're all human beings, and that we should all to come together and just bring peace and stop with this whole words and hate, especially with the internet days and everything.
Yep. And one of the things, again, that what I wanted to focus on today, Vicky, was what we should be thankful for. Okay. So I am thankful that there is a pause in the hostilities over there. I am thankful that, some of the hostages are coming back home on both sides. I am thankful for that. I am thankful that our administration finally woke up and, went to bat to bring this thing to a halt out there. That is so, so painful for us. Especially what happens is the world looks up to America as somebody, who can come in and make things happen. I don't think that America should be the world's policeman. That's not what we are here for. But when we have a friend like we want to call, then we should be making sure that we are doing things for humanity's sake. And John, you have been pretty quiet on the phone, my friend. Is the COVID getting to you at home now?
No, I'm okay. I'm just listening and learning, and I appreciate the caller's sentiment. I think that the difficulty is we have to talk to these points, and what is the history of the word Semitic, and a previous caller talking about how that was co-opted in the 30s and so many things so many terms in our world originated somewhere else and then were co-opted for whatever was the mission of the person co-opting the word. And we have to kind of sort that out. And without the discussion like we're having here today, it's really difficult to get that kind of historical context. And I think that's the key. And I think that the last caller makes a good point that these are difficult conversations. It's difficult to talk about without falling into, oh, you said that word or used it in the wrong context, and then casting somebody as saying that's your belief system. And we're at a point where we have to step back. Kyrie makes a great point that we have to step back, and it's about humanity. It's about looking at no one in any of these situations is without some fault or some crossing of a line. And it is only through stepping back and saying the fundamental thing here is how do we preserve humanity? How do we create systems of justice? How do we create some level of human existence that isn't creating these kind of walls and barriers between people and trying to break those down? And that's what discussions like this are for.
That's so wonderful, John, what you just said. And I think you have a good perspective on some of these topics also. So you want to finish off the topic for us? Do you want to bring in a couple of your points, and then we will move on, because we are at about 8 minutes to the close now.
Is that to me? I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
Yes.
I think we have a lot going on in the world today. The show is about being thankful, and I think we all, have seen that it's hard to suss out what's really going on. And in our pre-discussion, we talked about Biden's numbers and what polls mean, and I think everything comes down to a context. Polling numbers at this point in time as to how people will vote in a year, to me, are, they're 5% of the conversation. The bigger part of the conversation is what's happening? What are the real results of government action? From my point, I know the complications of trying to get legislation passed. A lot of times you're holding your nose and voting for the best option, or, for or against a budget that includes, things you like and things you don't like. And, I think as we were, moving around our state, in this, over the last couple of days with our travel, we're seeing a lot of construction. We're seeing a lot of things getting done. And all of that translates, directly from some of the things that have gotten done in a Congress that hasn't done an awful lot historically, right? I mean, this is the least effective Congress we've seen in our lifetime and for generations. But we did get the infrastructure bill passed. And if you're driving, I was driving down to near Peoria earlier in the week before my COVID kicked in, and saw a lot of construction. And I think connecting the dots that construction means jobs, means people being able to pay for the meals they're putting on the table, that directly comes from, a bill that was passed in Congress, but we hadn't had an infrastructure bill, a federal infrastructure bill, which funds 80% of a project like you see on 55 or on 80 that's going on right now. So it's really tough to connect the dots, and I appreciate this show and the work you're trying to do to bring awareness to the many complicated things that go on in our society.
Absolutely, John. Thank you so much. And there was some kind of a background sound coming in.
John's making breakfast in the background.
Oh, that is what was happening, man. I was like, so that turkey or is still getting done over there, John, huh?
Well, venison steaks are now going to be in. I got a full deer from my brother-in-law, so we got a lot of venison to work through. They're all getting venison for Christmas.
Well, just let me know when I can come and pick it up, because that is something that I miss. Okay.
By the way, one thing I'm thankful for in relation to that infrastructure bill, which has been in play for just a little bit over a year now, they designated a very significant amount, I think $1.4 trillion towards clean energy. And that's really, really important. Not so much for me, but for anyone who's got kids or grandkids moving forward. I'm very thankful that we're starting to turn the road into making the earth a better place to live.
Okay, wonderful. Again, folks, you are tuned in to the Lightning Strike. We come every Sunday morning from 9 to 10. Today's show, I wanted to keep it very light-hearted, and also focus on some of the things that we should be thankful for. We got clean energy coming through now. We are breathing clean air. We got clean water to drink. Heck, just the fact that you got up in the morning and you're able to tune in and listen to the show is a huge blessing. Okay. The fact that I got up in the morning and I could take a breath and I could drive down to the radio station and meet with Ken and Tyree and Dylan. That is a blessing. Can you imagine how many people did not get to wake up today?
I could imagine.
Can you imagine how many people woke up with some kind of disease or illness or, debilitating something, a stroke or something?
It's a sad thing, but just feeling blessed to wake up every day in the morning to still be alive.
Exactly. Okay. So one of the things that we should get into a continuous habit is giving thanks.
Yes, we should.
With every breath that we take, be thankful. There's somebody who has not been able to take a breath. Things that we can change, let's work on that. Things that we could not change, let's not even worry about that. One of the factors, Tyree, in my life is I tell people I don't have any stress in my life. And they are like...
Well, wait a minute. You know me. You have some stress in your life.
Okay. One of the things that I purposely try to work on is I don't worry about what happened yesterday. I can't go back and change it. I don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. I may not be there to look at it. I only look at what is happening today. What can I do to make a difference in my life and in the life of others also? Because I'm going to be held accountable when I pass on as to what did I do with this gift of life that God had given me.
Yes, you should. More people should think like you, Mohammed. Yeah, that's a very good mindset.
And that's, on that note, folks, you have been tuned in to the Lightning Strike on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk radio station. Catch us next Sunday. Same station, same time, 9 to 10. You can also catch us live on Facebook.com/WCPT820 or Facebook.com/TLS Chicago for the Lightning Strike. Our website is www.tlschicago.com. See you next week. Have a wonderful end of November. We'll see you next month in December.
And be careful on those roads today. Weather's getting a little dangerous.